Welcome back to the Tailosive Movie Reviews Podcast. Your host, DJ, is not here because this is not the Space Podcast. This is the best podcast in the Tailosive Network, the Tailosive Movie Reviews Podcast with Model Y Mike and your host, Nick, who's also just a co-host. I don't know why I say I'm the host. I'm just the announcer. Have you ever seen Jeopardy?
Yeah, Alex Trebek.
Yeah. I'm the guy who says, and the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Oh, goodness.
Tragically
What's that guy's
passed
name?
away. Yeah, he has a name, and I do know it. I'd recognize it if you said it, but
Is it Jimmy? I don't know. Anyways.
it sounds Jimmy.
So,
Hi.
Hi, everyone. How's it going? Hope you're having a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you're listening to this. Today, as we have kind of teased in the last few episodes, we are talking about the one, the only 1980s.
WandaVision.
Yes.
No, wait. Oh, no. Oops.
Apparently not that one.
Well,
nah,
that's not the movie I was told to get ready for, Mike. I mean, this clearly states right here that we're going to be doing WandaVision today. This blank piece of paper.
You know, I can't even read that blank piece of paper, so I'm already...
Me neither.
Anyways, we're going to be talking about
invisibility glasses.
The second Star Wars movie to ever come out, not Episode 2, but the one, the only Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, starring the wonderful Mark Hamill.
I love Mark. He is such a genuine spirit.
Mm-hmm. It's a
Mark
great
Hamill.
movie. I mean, this doesn't really hit as much as Toy Story 2 did compared to Toy Story 1. But I think Empire Strikes Back compared to New Hope, it's a solid sequel.
It is a very solid sequel. I think for many people, this was the best sequel they had ever seen walking out of the theater. Seeing how it was one of the first mainstream movies. You know, there might have been a few other ones before, but this is the first most well-known mainstream movie where we have the cliffhanger, the classic cliffhanger end for a trilogy where you have part 1 is resolved, part 2 unresolved, and part 3 resolves all three parts together. So this was a great cliffhanger movie. I really enjoyed watching it again. It had been a while since I'd seen it, so thanks for sitting down and reviewing this together. This is going to be good. Can't wait.
Definitely. It starts again with a Star Destroyer shot, which I think is pretty funny. They kind of continue that beginning shot of some spaceship in space. And we get... Oh, goodness. We're getting some connection issues. Dang it! Starlink can't come any sooner.
Yeah, I think we're both waiting on Starlink. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Looks like it's working now.
A little bit space-themed. Anyways, it starts with the Star Destroyer. Pretty cool. And we, instead of going onto a desert planet, end up on a ice planet, which is a nice refresher, I'd say, compared to the first one, where it's mainly arid
completely
or
opposite.
Metal, I guess. This one's a little bit more metal because we're kind of going through different Star Destroyers, but we get to see a lot of different places as well, don't we, Nick?
Man, there's quite a few people, places, people, and creatures that we get to meet. Like, one of my very favorite creatures are the ones that suck on the power lines of the Millennium Falcon, and those things are called Mynoks.
Or Mynock? Is it
yeah.
Mynock? Okay.
I think it's Mynock, but I could be wrong. Yeah, we get to meet a lot of new characters. We should probably go chronologically through this after we give our overall impressions. Mike, what did you think of this movie overall? Score it out of 8.
Yeah, our typical out of 8. I would say maybe like a 5 out of 8. It's not like the most favorite Star Wars of mine, but it's a good one. I think it's a good movie. It just lacks some of the magic that at least the first one gave me in terms of just emotional impact. But there definitely is a lot of game-changing events in this that I think was very bold for George Lucas to do in this second installment of Star Wars. What do you think, Nick?
Well, I think I'd probably agree. I'd say probably 5.5 or 6, somewhere around there. Obviously 8 being the best. I think it's really, for me at least, it's not as nostalgic as some of the other movies in the Star Wars universe. So most people who grew up with Star Wars as like the OG trilogy being there, Star Wars will say that Episode 5 or Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars because that is the classic Star Wars for them. For me, that's not the classic Star Wars. So it doesn't really have the like nostalgia, I guess, that some of the other movies does for me. And obviously it's a classic in and of itself, but I just don't look back on it with fond memories, and so it's kind of slow in places, and there are a couple plot holes and little thingies that I just notice, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, this isn't all that it's cracked up to be, folks. I mean, this isn't like perfection, but it's pretty good. And I got to ask you, which version did you watch? Where did you get this video that you just watched?
So I think, like you, I'm speculating. We both watched it, I'm assuming, on Disney Plus, or at least I
didn't. Yeah, you did. I switched things up today because I do own the whole Star Wars trilogy on iTunes. I did watch the 2004 or 2003 remake of it, so they added a little bit of CG stuff. I actually appreciate this 2003, 2004 version a lot more than the classic originals that we had on VHS. They added a lot to Cloud City. They added a lot really pretty sunsets and windows inside of Cloud City, because in the OG one, it's all just white. Like all of the walls and all of the hallways and all of Cloud City are just white walls. And so in some of the CG ones, they cut the walls out and put pretty sunsets and pretty scenic views, which I think adds quite a bit. And one of my favorite characters who gets the least screen time in the original the original VHS version of the movie is the Abominable Snowman. He didn't get a single face shot in the original. In the remakes, they went through and got some more shots of Abominable Snowman's face. And so they stuck more shots of Abominable Snowman in the remakes. So I was always happy to see more of my good old friend Abominable.
You're obviously talking about the Wampa on Hoth, correct?
Yes, obviously. I mean...
There's a lot of plot holes in that scene, I'd say, in general. First of all, the Wampa just grabs Luke on the top of the snow-covered Hoth and then takes him into some cave and then somehow fuses his feet into the ceiling, which I thought was very interesting. And Luke somehow gets out of that situation by just slicing the arm off the Wampa and falling and then just leaving. Like,
I know, right? Like, as I was watching it today, I was like, Luke, you just killed the Wampa, so there's like
critically damaged it.
Or had the opportunity to kill it if you wanted to, because you dismembered one of the arms. So it's not like he couldn't finish the job and then stay in the nice warm cave that wouldn't have let him freeze to death and wait for daylight when it's not going to be a blizzard outside. So yeah, way to go, Luke. Just walk straight out of the nice, safe Wampa cave and into the literal blizzard and freeze to death. Like, good job, Luke. Congratulations for having good thoughts and a big brain right there. Anyway, a little dumb plot hole that I refuse to forgive.
It's all right. He's got Ben Kenobi just saying, hey, you need to go to Dagobah. Also, try not to freeze.
Exactly. And it's like, they could have done that scene any other way. And they could have had Obi-Wan Kenobi just in a dream, or literally just any other way. And this way just is filled with plot holes. And I know why they did it. The reason why they had this whole Wampa scene is because Mark Hamill got in a car accident a couple months before principal shooting, and they needed to explain away why his face was kind of disfigured. And to me, I never noticed that his face was different between episode 4 and episode 5 all through growing up, and it wasn't until I read that story. And by reading a story, I mean watching a YouTube video. And by watching a YouTube video, I mean just glancing at a YouTube video. So I'm super well researched in this fact. But
he's an expert,
they put this
everyone.
whole... Oh, expert, total expert, as much expert as anyone around here. Yeah, so it's just that whole Wampa scene just kind of seems a little unnecessary in the grand scheme of the entire movie, and it's fun and nostalgic and stuff, and I don't mind it starting off slower because it does crescendo quite well at the very end. It kind of all comes together. But yeah, what did you think of the whole kind of beginning of the movie between, let's call it, from the credits to the beginning of the invasion? What any other big thoughts there?
I did think it was interesting with the whole drone landing in the snow. Was interesting concept, knowing the things that we know, or at least the things that we've experienced here in real life, with us sending rovers to different planets, and usually they have airbags or they propulsively land. While this one's just like, it goes in the snow, it's fine. I thought that was very interesting from a scientific standpoint, but it's science fiction, so they can do anything. And then the Tauntauns, I actually appreciated the old clunky version of them, where it was kind of like the prosthetic that they had, or whatever art graphics person kind of went in there and helped out with it. I appreciated those a lot more than I guess the CGI ones. They.
Are you talking about the stop motion animation of the Tauntauns?
I think
or
the stop
puppetry?
motion's all right. It was more of some of the touch-ups that Disney Plus did to it. I think they tried making the
maybe I need to
Tauntauns
watch
look
that version.
They made him look, or tried to make him look a little bit more realistic. But I'm like, they were fine before. They just looked a little bit clunky. But maybe that's just Tauntauns, right? They're not the most, not really the most agile, but not the most graceful thing to look at either. They're very ugly. There's a lot of weird creatures that they show in this episode as well. I didn't realize so many different aliens and species that they show off, all the way from Hoth to Cloud City. Very crazy.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen any of the deleted scenes from episode 5. There aren't many of them, but there's one that especially stands out in my mind, and it's when the rebellion is evacuating Echo Base, and C-3PO is running down a hallway, and everyone's scattering and running around for their lives. And there is this door that is just on the side of the wall, and there's a big yellow sticker that in some kind of Star Wars language says danger. And C-3PO runs past it, freezes, turns around, and then peels the sticker off, and then keeps running down and you're just like, that was interesting. And then a few minutes later, they pay that off by having the stormtroopers opening each and every door in this hallway, and there's some monsters inside this door that just yank all of the stormtroopers in and start devouring them. And you're just like, oh, C-3PO is pretty cool. Like, everyone gives C-3PO all this crap for just being a whiny little smart aleck, but there's some smarts there. I do appreciate that, Anthony Daniels. Good job.
I think the movement in that scene was pretty good for kind of like how anatomical and weird C-3PO's movements are, at least in this deleted scene. Like, he goes to grab it and his body kind of goes whoop as he takes it up, because he doesn't really have the motion to kind of rip it off and move his elbow. He's kind of got a locked elbow, so he kind of just goes whoop. Yeah. This is
Anthony Daniels is one of my favorite actors, to be honest, and just how much life he can breathe into this very stoic face. It's very, very fun.
Oh, yeah.
What were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was just going to say this whole entire scene of everyone evacuating the Hoth Echo Base or whatever, very, very weird. But, I mean, this whole movie is pretty much just a chase movie, right? I mean, Luke's kind of learning more of the Force and trying to get more in touch with his lineage, where Han and Leia and Chewie and C-3PO are kind of just running away from the Empire the whole time, and sadly they eventually get caught. But yeah. I think this was maybe a good way to do like a constant chase movie. It's always like beat for beat. It's kind of
unlike episode 8.
We have many thoughts on episode 8.
Stay tuned for those. Woo-hoo!
Yeah, the special guest that we were going to have today on this podcast unfortunately couldn't make it. If you're wondering why we hyped up having a special guest, they couldn't make it. But they'll definitely be back.
Ryan Johnson didn't want to join us. I tried calling him, but it's almost like he didn't want to get ragged on about episode 8. So here we are talking about episode 5.
Yeah, he left me on unread on instant messaging. So
that's just painful, man. That's harsh.
It's so painful.
Should call Billy D. Williams next and see if he wants to come and give his perspective.
That'd be nice.
So we kind of jumping around here, but the main plot, if you haven't seen episode 5, spoiler warnings. We should probably start every show with major spoiler warnings. I realized that a couple days ago. 41
years later.
Exactly. But hey, there's always that one guy who's like, oh, what? What do you mean? Darth Vader's Luke's father. And you're just like, dude, welcome to pop culture from 40 years ago.
I mean, isn't that basically the whole big spoiler thing, or almost what kicked off spoilers in movies, right?
That is actually
Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father? What? And I guess the next one would be what we're covering in the next episode is he's not the only one. He's got a sister.
There is another. Yeah. So we have a little bit of a scene where Han and Leia are going at it. They're obviously bickering. There's a lot of tension in their scenes together. It's obvious that Han likes Leia and Leia kind of likes Han, but
he's a bad boy.
Leia's like, yeah, he's a bad boy. I'm not allowed to publicly like him, but I like him just enough to tango with him a little, if you catch my drift. So there's a lot of fun tension in their scenes. I especially love their back and forth where he's like, she's like, I'd as soon rather kiss a Wookiee. And he's like, I can arrange that. It's just like, the dialogue there is just perfect.
And then Chewbacca starts laughing, and then Han's like, laugh it up, fuzzball.
Fuzzball.
And then Leia calls him like a nerf herder as well, which is also another great...
half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder.
Nerf herder. Oh, yeah,
who's scruffy looking?
Kind of like the first Star Wars. There's a lot of good lines in this one as well that you can quote.
It was a very quotable movie for sure.
Yeah.
And props to the writers. I should have the IMDb page pulled up on this, but I don't know who wrote it off the top of my head. But I know it wasn't George. George was the story author, but not the actual script writer. So anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot of banter between this old married couple that's not really a married couple in this whole entire movie. Like, every single scene that they're in together is, I like you, or why don't we do it this way? It's like, why would I do it that way, you idiot? It's just...
Exactly.
A whole lot of contention, which is this movie. It's a lot of back and forth. And not just between heroes, we also have insight on the villains as well. We get to look at the Darth Vader a little bit more and get to learn about Palpatine as well. And... get to know a little bit more about this galaxy far, far away that we're all intrigued by, at least.
Very much so. So the screenplay is by Leia Brackett and Lawrence Kasdan. Kasdan. So that's the screenplay, but the story is still by George Lucas. Yeah, so we have that beginning scene, and it's kind of funny that they just like up and just evacuate. Like, it's kind of like either the rebellion is a lot larger than I think it is by just watching this movie, or they just don't care about their infrastructure, because they're just like, okay, we're still getting set up. We haven't yet adjusted the snow speeders for snow conditions. Oh, wow, look, here's the Empire. Everyone, let's leave. And then they just, like, get out with, like, 6 or 7 transports. And it's like they're leaving, like, so much of their base still there. It's like either they have other bases to go to, or they're just really well-funded, which we know outside of this movie it's a little bit of both. But it's kind of funny in this movie to see those kind of plot holes almost that they kind of retconned and made not plot holes later. Yeah,
they do a lot of running, especially it's like, oh, I think the Empire found us. I guess we're leaving now. And then they somehow get, is it all the transports that end up leaving? None of them get exploded or caught?
I think most of them do, I guess. I don't know.
Which was also kind of entertaining to me. I'm like, wow, the Empire is like chasing this rebellion, trying to snuff them out, and they can't even snuff out like 3 or 4 transport ships that don't really have as much firepower as a Imperial Star Destroyer has. But okay.
Yeah,
whatever.
It's kind of funny watching this movie in conjunction with knowing the rest of the universe, and it's like at the time I realized, and I totally understand why it was done, and I'm not really complaining about it. Just as a movie critic, I am saying this doesn't fit with the rest of the universe, because you have the Empire, literally Palpatine, the guy who can shock a whole fleet of just people, right? Like in Episode 9, he can just infinite power, the definition of infinite power, and
unlimited power.
The some might say unlimited infinite power, and you get a scale of the Empire in Rebels or Clone Wars or whatever, where it's just like one Star Destroyer is enough to like conquer a whole planet, right? And so seeing a fleet of like 7 or 8 of these jump out of hyperspace is like, at the fleet space level, it's like, oh, dude, that's awesome. Knowing from Rebels and all that each one of these Star Destroyers packs so much punch. Blah, blah, blah. Packs so much punch.
Well.
Pump some punch. But then you get on the ground level, and they have, what, 4 AT-ATs? Maybe 5?
Which
and
they never show how they got down either. Did they drop
exactly.
from orbit
and you're just
like the robot as well?
Right? You're just like, okay, like I get the space. In space, it makes sense. They have these big Star Destroyers, but then on the ground here, they send. It's like a big army waiting across the river and sending like one kid across the river to go kill everyone, and it's just like, oh, okay, I guess, but it's kind of inefficient use of resources from the Empire's perspective. So it's a little bit of a plot hole, and I understand that with modeling and budget and stuff, they couldn't, CG copy and paste like 80 of these ATSTs, AT-ATs, right? AT-ATs.
AT-ATs. The STs
Yeah.
are the chicken walkers, I believe.
The smaller ones. Yeah. So, anyway, it's a little bit off-putting watching that. Oh, and then each one of the Star Destroyers gets offed with 1 or 2 ion cannon blasts, which it's like, okay, I know for the rest of Star Wars universe that the ion cannons target the electronics, and, you know, an ion blast typically does stop a Star Destroyer, just like we see here. But normally there's a lot of buildup to these ion blasts where it's like, you know, you got to get the perfect shot, the shields have to be at the right angle, and, you know, it's kind of hard to nail these ion shots. But when the transports are going away with their escorts, you see like 4 or 5 ion beams just destroy like 2 or 3 maybe Star Destroyers, and you're just like, well, all right. But like, I don't know, coming from the guy who like just finished watching Rogue One a couple days ago, like it's just kind of depressing to watch the star battles. And I get it, it's the late 70s, early 80s, so I can't diss it too much. But that's just something I noted and wanted to share in case you want to have your Star Wars ruined.
Well, I mean, it ends up costing a bunch of Imperial officers their lives as well. Darth Vader doesn't really like the fact that these rebel ships are escaping so easily. And so he basically, this whole movie is just Darth Vader like, all right, you're dead. Now you're in command. Now you're dead. Now you're in command. He just keeps on killing off all these officers, and you just see nothing but fear in all these officers because they could just be offed in person or over a Zoom call, basically, or whatever they have. It's just hilarious.
Space Zoom.
Like, was it Captain Piet is just like, oh no.
Yeah. Oh no.
My buddy just died right next to me while we're talking with Darth Vader on the screen, and I'm next.
I'm next, I know. It's almost like you don't want to be a main admiral or whatever they are, a captain, admiral, whatever they are.
Nah, just be a stormtrooper.
Exactly. So, but then they go out like, sorry, little. Yeah, they don't get enough action. Yeah. I think the biggest takeaway from Star Wars Episode 5, though, is the management skills that Darth Vader uses. Darth Vader should start his own management course, 5 steps to being a good manager, by the evil Sith Lord Darth Vader. It would be a hit. All of the businesses would just eat up these management things. Whenever one of your subordinates makes a mistake, kill them. Perfect, right? That's just a great idea. No more mistakes if you kill everyone who makes mistakes. Or, well, there you no mistakes. That logic adds up, right? Have you seen Robot Chicken, Mike?
I have.
Have you seen the Robot Chicken episode where they have the mustache and they're talking about how they get away from Darth Vader's choke grip?
I think so. It's been a while. I'm more familiar with the Seth MacFarlane bits with Emperor Palpatine, with him going to the store, being on an escalator.
Go for Papa Palpatine.
They do some really good parodies of Palpatine and the rest of Star Wars in that show.
Oh, they sure do. Yeah, there's some fun things there. But anyway, that's getting a little off topic here. So Darth Vader's basically doing a better job than the rebels at killing his officers. So way to go, Darth Vader.
He'll count like 5 or 10 at least on Darth Vader. On the rebels, like maybe a handful, besides like the huge Death Star that Luke destroyed. With assistance from the rebels, I guess.
Darth Vader is the employee of the month for the rebels.
Apparently, to grab that placard. They need to grab that placard before they leave Hoth. But yeah, the Battle of Hoth, interesting one as well. At least on Disney Plus, the or not graphics, but at least like the visualization of the terrain is interesting. I do like the old shots of like the snow speeders kind of going up and down the hills, or kind of hovering over the hills. They're not really driving on the hills, but very interesting watching that in 2021. Still looks fine to me. It looks as if like someone was in a plane, or they got a helicopter or something like that, or was going over hills and getting these shots, or doing the opposite. They maybe got this plane or whatever, not plane, but like this landscape, and then just started moving it forward and back, or moving up and down, or something like that. Because they do a lot of those mini models, at least for Episode 4, and I'm sure they did the same for Episode 5. Wouldn't be too
Most
bad.
of it's model based. Mm-hmm. It's really impressive. I've watched a lot of behind the scenes content on this, and those model makers made some really impressive models at all of these different scales. Like, you don't really realize how much time goes into like a single shot for, just a kind of almost throwaway shot. It's just like one of the establishing shots. Yet that's so important. It's really what makes Star Wars feel like Star Wars. So pretty
and all the creatures kind of
impressive
like
that they have all these models.
Was it the asteroid worm thing? I totally forget what it's called.
Oh yeah.
But like that was
Space Worm, I think.
The Space Worm or something like that. But like when it was trying to grab the Millennium Falcon as they're leaving it, or leaving its belly, I guess. I don't know how they don't see the mouth before, or any other defining functions of a cave. But they, when this worm comes out, it doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look like a sock puppet necessarily. You can kind of see, it's kind of got like a leathery exterior and looks a little bit mean looking.
It's called an Exogorth, otherwise known as a space slug.
What? A space slug that has really big teeth and has not Mylock living in it?
Exactly. Its average length, according to Wikipedia, average length is between 1 meter and 900 meters. So
that's a big breadth.
Exactly. You could have quite 30,000 years is its average lifespan. Chang.
So it goes from like the height of you, Nick, to oh goodness, what's
the height of me?
Well, yeah, the height of you to the height of you, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm 900 meters tall, folks. The Burj Khalifa and me are on the same wavelength.
Must be tough for you to fly
that's
then.
Funny.
Though I guess with that stride, you could go anywhere.
It's okay as long as I eat the Millennium Falcon. I'll have a hyperdrive, a 0.5 hyperdrive, and I can go
anywhere. Except the hyperdrive just doesn't work. Remember, this whole entire movie.
Yeah, it has a.
Did you fix the hyperdrive? Nope. Is it working?
Nope.
Bunch of tools
Very
fall on
R2.
Han's head. Nope.
I know. How does he not have a concussion? And Chewie too. Like, this is not an OSHA approved workspace. I don't know what Han and Chewie are doing here. It's not safe down there.
Yeah.
Being in the hyperdrive maintenance bay. I think we got a little ahead of ourselves again in the timeline of things because we just love rambling.
No, I mean, it's good. We're
totally
talking about
fine.
this movie and all its great intricacies and all the different details that we love to pick on, at least.
Oh, of course. No, I really hope this doesn't come off as scripted because it's definitely not. I just want to put that out there. I am definitely not reading a script right now.
So,
it
Nick,
very
how
much
was
freeform
the
content.
Wookiee fight on Kashyyyk?
The Wookiee fight on Kashyyyk.
Oh, wait, hold on.
That
These
is
are
in
my
episode 3.
Yeah, that's my episode
Yeah.
3 notes. Sorry. Hold on.
Yeah. Okay. That was a bad joke.
Anyways.
All right, guys, we're gonna keep moving here.
There's the Battle of
joke.
Hoth. A lot of cool
Battle
things
of Hoth
happen.
happens.
For some reason, the snowspeeders have some tow hooks on it that are able to bring down AT-ATs. Another wonderful plot hole is that they shoot the AT-ATs with snowspeeders. Nothing happens, but when the AT-ATs are on the ground, apparently whatever shielding that their armor had doesn't have it anymore, and they can just shoot it and they blow up.
Exactly, in a huge explosion. So
really huge explosion.
and again, there are only 4 of them, so pretty easy.
Apparently, I think, do they take down all of them? I think they only take down like 1 or 2, right?
I think it's for sure no 2. I don't know because there's one that Luke blows up, and then there's the one that goes down with the explosion after it gets tripped.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a few, but it's still like not quite the scale of the Empire. After the Battle of Hoth on the outside part, we get the lovely scene where Han's basically kidnapping Leia. Last I checked, what was happening on screen looked a lot closer to kidnapping than just getting the princess out for her safety. So I don't know. She didn't seem to want to be going with Han at the beginning, but she warmed up to it. I guess she has whatever that syndrome is when you warm up to your kidnapper. Or Leia.
Yeah. Totally forget what that's called either. And then there's a lot of
Starts with a P, I think.
there's a lot of telling C-3PO to shut up in this movie as well. He's definitely treated like that third wheel who's just always talking. You're like, just quiet.
Sir, the possibility of successfully navigating an asteroid field is 700,325 to 1.
Never tell me the odds.
Mm-hmm. That's the line. So, they get out, and they're in an asteroid field, and they're dodging asteroid/potatoes because the special effects team was getting tired of making fake rocks, so they just stuck potatoes in the background. So, bravo, guys. Good job. There are potatoes in the Star Wars universe. They're just the size of asteroids.
Mm-hmm.
I was always really... go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was also really impressed with the Super Star Destroyer being able to make it down into the asteroid field. They're making it look like it was such a challenge for TIE fighters and the Millennium Falcon to fit in the rubble of this asteroid field. But for some reason, the Super Star Destroyer, which I think is like 12 kilometers long or something like that, is just able just to go right into the asteroid field. And exactly. It's using its turbo lasers to blow up the incoming asteroids, but still, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like there might be one or two kind of big asteroids that maybe the turbo laser can't just fix.
Sir, we are getting a call from the Emperor.
We'll take it out of the asteroid field. They just
Want to
turned
make
the
sure
thing
we
out.
can send a clear signal to the Emperor. Yeah, that was one of the funniest scenes. I didn't realize that they reposed Ian McDermott for a long time. I knew that the episode 5 guy in the 80s wasn't Ian McDermott, so it was a little fun to see him actually reprising his role as the Emperor, and they kind of retconned him in there. So I feel bad to whoever that was who played the Emperor originally, who is not on my list of things here, but anyway, he got deleted out of Star Wars. That would kind of hurt a little bit, don't you think?
A little bit, yeah. I do kind of miss that old. It was like a mysterious, like sorcerer, damaged-looking person, which I'm sure is what George is going for. And then you kind of see that in episode 6 with this shriveled old man who apparently has all this power. And then because of the prequels, they're like, let's just put him back in episode 5, and he looks somewhat like he did in episode 3 for some reason. Because it's only been like 20 or 30 years. Like, he probably looks the same.
Exactly the same. That guy is Clive Revell. So sorry, Clive, you got cut out of episode 5.
We recognize you, Clyde.
Yeah. So we will remember you, Clyde. We had probably one of the for those astute listeners and people who knew their Star Wars Episode 4 in the movie theaters for Episode 5, they would have caught on that Darth Vader is likely Luke's father in this meeting, in this Zoom call that Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine were having, because Obi-Wan in Episode 4 had mentioned that Luke's father is a Skywalker, right? And so as you got the Emperor and Vader talking about Skywalker and the son of Skywalker, and it was just like, watching it again, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure a few fans who were super clued into the fact that, Papa Skywalker is kind of at large as far as where he is in the galaxy. I think some people might have put it together right then, but I don't know.
Yeah, my mother was not one of those people. She was pleasantly shocked, like many of the masses watching, realizing that this big, evil, terrible breathing vacuum cleaner man is, in fact, this hero's father. But we are introduced, probably one of the coolest rogues gallery for at least Star Wars universe. We get to see all these bounty hunters that Darth Vader hires because he wants to get Han, and Han is definitely escaping. Or no, he's trying to get, I guess, Luke and Leia. And so then he hired... excuse me, sorry. He hires a whole bunch of these bounty hunters. And we get the one and only, the most hyped up bounty hunter probably ever.
IG-11, right?
IG-11. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
I thought you were going to say Boba Fett.
No one cares about Boba Fett.
Yeah, who cares about Boba Fett?
Boba Fett just stands there. IG-11 actually looks cool while he's standing.
Oh, yeah.
And all the others. I totally forget their names.
IG-11 always... I actually have a Star Wars dictionary, I think is what they used to call them back in the mid-2000s. They had these books that had, like, cutaways of all the Star Wars ships and stuff and creatures from around the galaxy. And IG-11 was in there. And I remember always thinking, like, he always looked very stiff before The Mandalorian. And I was like, how is he... And it's supposed to be, the super killer droid or whatever, the super bounty hunter droid. And so it's just he just looks very stiff, right? But come to find out, all of his things are on rotational axes. So in The Mandalorian, it's just like... It's like, ooh, that's pretty cool.
Definitely.
So it was cool to see IG-11 for sure.
Yeah.
Very much.
Definitely doesn't make him look like just some linear robot that can only bend down and maybe move his head in circles and only shoot his blaster forward. little bit complicated.
Yeah.
But
Pretty complicated stuff.
yeah. And while this is all happening, I guess we should note that Luke departs Hoth in his own X-wing with R2 and goes to the Dagobah system, or Dagobah, however you say it, and meets up with
The Dagobah system.
a crazy old man who likes to eat. Is it like a chicken stick? It looks like a chicken stick that Luke is trying to eat on Dagobah. And
I mean, I think I would run away if I saw Yoda out of context, because I was watching it with my family, and my mother, actually, you mentioned your mother. My mother had also seen it in movie theaters back in the day, and they went to the what's the famous theater in Hollywood, like where Episode 4 premiered? It's like the Asian cinema or something like that. I don't know. It sounds kind of racist, but whatever that place is called.
no, it's got a good
called?
aesthetic. I love the beauty of that cinema, but the name is escaping me as well.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, they went there to see Episode 5 back in the day, and as we were watching it, we were just kind of talking, and she's like, "Man, I used to think he looked so realistic," and I'm like, "Mom, what are you talking about? He looks like something out of like the Dark Crystal or something. What the heck? I am getting nightmares right now. Like, Jim Henson, lay off of it. I am getting nightmares as you put on Yoda, because he just looks so, especially before he reveals himself as the Jedi Master Yoda, he looks very like Gollum-esque, or not. Who's the Precious guy in Lord of the Rings?
It's
I haven't
Gollum.
actually never
It's
seen Lord of
Gollum,
the Rings.
or,
Is this Gollum? Okay, yeah.
Well, I think he's Gollum and... Oh, goodness, he has 2 names. We need to watch that at some point. We'll cover Lord of the Rings maybe in the future, so we can
Maybe.
cover Gollum. Anyways, Yoda is very much acting like Gollum. And some crazy...
Yeah, just very creepy.
He has a lot of hair. I didn't realize how much hair Yoda has. Like, at least in the prequels, they make him... Well, I guess in Episode 1 or Episode 2, they give him hair, or some hair, or, yeah, a little bit of hair. But in Episode 3, he seems pretty bald.
Yeah.
At least from my memory. But in this one, like, he's got hair all over the place, and it makes him seem a little bit more realistic. He's not just some weird bald baby. He's this forest guru that is just wandering around eating
Exactly.
people's chicken sticks. Or cheese sticks.
Chicken sticks, cheese sticks, fish sticks, same thing for Yoda. Yeah, so Yoda then takes Luke back to his hut, and one of the funnier scenes, Luke fitting in Yoda's little hut, because Yoda's designed his hut to be Yoda-sized, not person-sized. So that was kind of fun to watch, because I feel like that all the time, sitting in rooms and being like, this Model 3 doesn't fit. The third row in this Model Y does not fit me.
Yeah, I know from personal experience if anyone's watched the most
really?
recent Talos of
You
EV
do?
sitting in the back of a third row Model Y. It's not fun.
Wow. Oh, wow. I didn't know you. Do you have a Model Y?
No. No. They just call me Model Y
okay.
Mike for something else, but at least on the Talos of movie
probably for
reviews,
that
I'm more
Cybertruck hat.
You are
They
derailing
call you Model Y
this.
Mike. Yeah, I want to get the EV stuff out tonight, not tomorrow morning.
Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of noted, at least when watching this, like, the Jedi, or at least the ones who have survived, are very much interested in these dome-like structures that they live in. Like, Obi-Wan had this dome Tatooine house, and kind of, like, weird aesthetics, and so does Yoda. He's got some weird pillars in the middle of his house, and of course it's small because he's small, which I guess he built it. I don't know, like, who built this house or hut? Did he have someone else help him? But
I mean, Yoda could have just used the Force, knowing that Yoda is the general of the Grand Republic Army. Like, he could just will this little structure into existence. But yeah, I enjoyed the character dialogue that they had about Luke being too old and not patient enough, and the slow reveal. But at the end of the day, it's like, man, all right, come on, plot twist. Now we get that. Like, Star Wars Episode 5 was the first time that anyone had ever done that. Like, the little guru on the side of the road is actually what he's looking for.
no way.
I know, right? And so it was kind of shocking for, I think, most people. Had a little bit of a plot twist moment there, but I'm just sitting there like, okay, skippity skip. We know for a fact that you trained Anakin Skywalker, so, like, not too old. Like, come on. Luke Skywalker's literally your only hope, and oh, by the way, you had him back in Episode 3, so if you wanted to start him way back when, guess what? You should have started him way back when,
No.
Yoda. This sounds like a you problem, buddy.
Nah, split them up.
So,
Split them up. It's too dangerous. I need to go in hiding in a swamp with no one else besides some weird swamp monsters that like to eat R2-D2. He
Clearly.
survives, by the way, at least. If for some reason you haven't seen episode 5. I do like...
R2D2 does not die.
He does not die. I do like the fact that when he does get out of that swamp, I guess kind of backpedaling to when they first get on Dagobah, R2 gets spit out by the weird alligator dinosaur monster. And then Luke's like, "Are you okay?" And R2's just like, "Blah." Just like a whole
I
bunch
love
of
R2.
swamp water. Yeah, he's very innocent and cute, but also very
Yeah.
nimble at points.
Exactly. That's a very good way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
Innocent and cute.
But
Yeah.
I did also like the Force Ghost. They kind of introduced that Ben Kenobi can... Well, I guess he was still talking with Luke in Episode 4,
Yeah.
but they kind of show that it's not just a voice that Luke is hearing from the past. It's actually Ben Kenobi
Something
as
interactable.
some Force Ghost. And the hologram technology that they at least show, which is not really a hologram, it's more of a digital magic, as they do at Lucasfilm. But they do a pretty good job, at least with this. Like, you can kind of see the vines behind him, and he looks very much like some weird Force ghost. And Alec Guinness still portrays him really well in this installment, kind of giving this wise master feel, but also kind of being like, "Hey, Luke, focus. You need to train."
Yeah. You can't, Luke, don't go alone. You cannot, you have to do this alone. You're not ready yet, but don't go. And Luke's just getting all these conflicting messages, and you're just like, come on, guys. What Vader wants. I mean, Yoda, we know that you're, like, epic. Like, what the heck, dude? Did you lose your lightsaber? What? Can you imagine Yoda v. Vader? Like episode 2 Yoda, like flippy spinny Yoda with like who plays David Prowse, the David Prowse Darth Vader. It's just like flippy spinny Yoda and David Prowse like overbearing lightsabers out. Exactly. It's just like, oh, that'd be an epic mashup, but unfortunately CG wasn't there in the 80s or something. Psh.
And it just wasn't meant to be either. It had to be
No,
Luke.
that should be a fan remake.
That'd
Need
be
to
pretty
have
fine.
David Prowse v. Yoda.
Yeah.
What did you think of Yoda as a puppet and as a character, like physically?
I'm a big fan of the puppet, even though that maybe my first memory of Yoda is as a puppet, but I mainly watched him in prequels because that was when I was at least old enough to remember the movies that I watched. I like Puppet Yoda a lot more. It gives him a little bit more, I don't know. He's just a strange creature, right? He's this strange old guy in a swamp, and he gives off kind of like that Dark Crystal creepy type of look. But you can believe he's there. You can believe he's alive. The facial features and movement that they give him, and the voice that I'm forgetting the actor's name that breathes life into.
It's the same guy who does the Muppets, right?
Could be. I don't really follow the Muppets too much. But
Frank Oz, I think,
Frank
did the
Oz.
Muppets, right?
I guess it is Frank Oz, yeah. But at least Puppet Yoda seems, I don't know, a lot more genuine to me. The CGI Yoda that they do in episode 2 and 3 just seems like, I don't know,
it's
George
Frank
Lucas
Oz.
is just showing off all the technology that he can breathe into this universe that he started in the 70s.
Frank Oz is quite the creator. I'm just looking at his IMDb page. The Muppets, Sesame Street, Yoda, Dark Crystal. It's like, dang, this guy got around. This guy's been busy.
Lost soul.
Yeah,
in that
I
voice.
appreciate Yoda as a puppet, although I guess I'm used to episode 2, episode 3 CG Yoda. So this does look visually a little bit different, and they did bring back Puppet Yoda for episode 8 or 9 or whenever Yoda comes back in the sequels. So it fits and it's fine, but it I don't know. It doesn't look as reptilian. It looks more like episode 2 and 3 Yoda looks like fairly reptilian, and episode 2 Yoda looks, episode 5 Yoda jeez, I'm getting all my trilogies mixed up. Episode 5 Yoda looks a little bit more clay-ish, like he's kind of like I don't know how else to describe it. In the same way that the space slug looks clayish, Yoda looks clayish. It's like not organic material, which is fine because there's so many movements and details in the eyes, and it's the 80s, so it's great. But I don't know. I do prefer episode 2 and 3 Yoda, where it's more CG and reptilian looking, just with details and movements in the face and skin.
Well, it gives him more freedom to do different things as well. He's not just sitting in a chair saying, no, I'm not going to train you, or, okay, carry me on your back, and I'll just be here while you're doing all the running and walking. And then I'll just randomly appear on the ground at some points. I agree. Episode 2 and 3 at least gave Yoda a little bit more cool factor. But I think episode 5 gives Yoda that mystic guru, like all-knowing dude sorcerer.
There you go.
Yoda's a dude.
Yoda is a dude. He's a green dude is what he is.
A little green dude. Yeah. But yeah, I enjoy episode 5 Yoda a lot. We could probably talk about Yoda all day.
Yeah, we probably could, but we should move on to kind of rising action / middle of Act 2. I guess where does Act 2? I guess Act 2 ends with Han freezing, huh? So we have a bit of ways before we get to the end of Act 2.
Yeah. Well, I'd say like we're at the beginning, right? Because Han and Leia and Chewie and 3PO escape the Empire by hiding behind hiding in the garbage that they dump out of the Star Destroyer at times, which, man, that's a lot of space junk. But then
tell me about it. They're throwing away entire vehicles.
Yeah, and then Slave One, which is piloted by some random dude in green armor. We don't know who he is.
Yeah,
and we don't really care about him.
What's his name? Fett.
No, I think it's Fez.
Bubo Fett. Fez.
Bada Fez. Ibada Fez, I think his name is.
Ibada Fez.
Ibada
Yeah, that's
Fez.
him.
Yeah.
He definitely doesn't have Beskarian armor.
What?
Exactly. It's the best car.
The best car. The Bada
Bada
Fez has the best car.
Arm or
Anyways,
oh man.
Mr. Fez follows Han all the way to Cloud City because Han knows a guy.
Which is on Bespin, and I really out of all of the Star Wars planets, I think Bespin and Cloud City are one of my favorite locations that we get to see. I am a stickler for good sunsets. I would eat up a good sunset any day of the week, and it just perpetual sunsets and pretty clouds and just pinks and blues and purples and yellows and oranges, and it's just beautiful sunset, especially during the landing sequence, but then a couple different times at the next day, I guess, when they're hauling frozen Han off. It's just a very beautiful location. And also, hello, city floating in the clouds. Yes, I would like to go there. Thank you very much. Yes, please. Please allow me to go there. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah, and then just the aesthetic.
I'm definitely not referencing Sokovia from Marvel.
Oh.
City floating in the clouds.
No, we're not talking about that yet.
Oh, that's all I saw when I was seeing the shots of Cloud City. I was like, that really looks like Sokovia.
Oh no,
just floating in the air.
One's really nice and pretty and has very high class people. The other one has a whole bunch of unfortunate souls who might get killed by Ultron.
Likely get killed by Ultron, but good thing
aesthetic,
the
buildings and rooms, or rubble that's falling on me while there's robots running around shooting things.
But hey, at least Quicksilver's in the MCU, so we're good. Okay,
we're in Cloud
we
City.
need to stay on topic. Man,
we
this
got
is
some
getting
weird
bad.
ships following Han into the landing pad that are the most cramped and useless vehicles, in my opinion. The weird twin co-piloted.
You're useless, Mike. Come on.
Scoozy?
These things have feelings too.
Do you even know the name of the ship?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. Gosh.
The twin Cloud
Jeez.
City speeder or something. Man, like those things look like a terrible drive around.
They're called twin pod cloud cars, okay? Storm 4 twin cloud twin pod cloud cars. It was manufactured locally on Bespin, so
Say that 5 times fast.
That's great. The Storm Force twin cloud. The Storm 4 twin pod cloud car. Storm 4 twin pod cloud Stark.
Stark.
Cloud Stark.
We've come full circle now. Sokovia Stark.
This is. Oh my gosh.
Well, with that entertaining point of the podcast there and gone, we land on Bespin.
I love how, like, literally everything in any of these OG Star Wars movies, like even these little Storm 4 twin pod cloud cars, has like a 300-page Wikipedia entry.
Oh, of
like,
course.
no joke.
Does it have the whole engineering plans to it as well and how to build one?
No, it has history. The Storm 4 twin pod cloud cars were utilized to keep the peace in the skies of Cloud City and became familiar sights as they patrolled and policed the airspace around the planet Bespin. Recognized by their distinctive bright orange or brick-colored hulls, these cloud cars were deployed to intercept starships bound for the... I'm sorry. Am I boring you?
What?
Shall I read from the next page of our textbook? Tax law.
Tax law. No, that's episode 1, 2, and 3.
No, that's trade law. Episode 1's trade law.
Oh.
Episode 2 is democracy crumbling. Episode 3 is the rise of an empire. So, that's how you get those classic novels you should all read.
Yeah.
Okay.
I too did have these books, kind of like you, Nick, with all the cool, funny tips and other things before Wikipedia was a thing.
Yeah.
But
Let me see if I can find one. Keep talking for a few seconds.
But I never really understood the reasons why there's so much. I guess it's mainly just world building and fandom as well. I mean, the whole Star Wars extended universe that they made that got retconned at some point was, I guess, interesting. There's a whole lot of lore with different Sith and Jedi. Could you find it?
Nope, couldn't find it. I thought I knew it was where it was because I just saw I have like an episode 1 and an episode 4 one, and then I have the novelized screenplays, and I found all of those like literally 2 weeks ago. I was like, I think I know where they are, but they're not where I thought they were. So
yeah, there's just so many details surrounding these movies, and like you only have, what is it, like if you're averaging it to like maybe 2 hours each movie, and there's 9 movies. So it's like 18 hours of Star Wars content, technically, I guess. Plus.
Don't say that. Oh my gosh. 18 hours. Plus Rogue One, plus Solo, plus Mando, plus Clone Wars, plus Rebels, plus...
all the small Star Wars story things as well.
They have this, Star Wars story things, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus all the things that are coming up on Disney Plus.
I mean, we could go all day. But more importantly, we get to meet Lando, the shifty... Does he have some nickname that he's given, or is he just some shifty dude that Leia just doesn't like at all?
Well, I mean, he is a robosexual, so he does have extra names.
He's what?
Have you not seen Solo?
I mean, I've seen Solo, but like, I don't understand the term that you just
His
said.
girlfriend's a robot in Solo.
That's right.
He's a
ship
robosexual.
that goes into the... I think I'd call
I was like throwing that word out.
I don't think I'd call that robosexual. You think he'd be happy to see the Falcon at least, or like a little bit excited to see it, knowing what we know from Solo. But
right.
Instead, he's kind of just like, the thing looks like a junk heap. Let's go into my house.
Exactly. And here, I'm definitely not going to screw you over, even though I tried to cheat in Sabacc that one time. So.
Because somehow
Yeah.
Boba gets there either shortly I forget if it's shortly after or shortly before, but enough to where
At some point, at least.
Yeah,
No.
Lando is kind of like, well, I guess I have to double cross my friend that I was loosely
Friend, though?
friends with.
Really? Friend? Yeah, loosely friends.
It's more like
I mean, I'd say
acquaintance.
someone who kind of skunked you in a game of Sabacc, losing your pride and joy of a ship because you're about to cheat would probably not be on my list of friends, at least. But maybe Lando's a little more forgiving than I am. But I would say that's probably not going to end up on my friend list. So if any of y'all are out there and want to be my friend, I would recommend not getting off to the start of a friendship with me, stealing my ship, killing my girlfriend / robot, getting me almost pulled into the Kessel, whatever that thing was, and double crossing me for coaxium. So shout out to Solo here, which we're not reviewing this evening. We're reviewing another movie we should get back to.
I think there's a running theme that we try following Empire and then we end up going on so many tangents that...
Well, isn't that the story of Star Wars, though? It's like...
Nothing but tangents.
You start with the main trilogy, but you can go anywhere with it. There's so many places you can
well,
go
then this
Star
person
Wars
goes over
with.
here and does this thing, but then this group of people does that thing, and that's why this person has to go over here and try to save them.
Oh, and did you know they made an entire movie titled just because... Rogue One was titled just because they had Rogue 2 as one of the snowspeeders on Hoth? And it's like, wow, they made an entire movie because... Rogue 2 was a thing.
Which confuses me then, because Rogue One is like a team that goes to get the Death Star plans, and it's basically a suicide mission. And then Rogue 2 is just some random fighter pilot on a snow speeder on Hoth. And does he get shot down by an AT-AT? I know at one point he's got a bloody face.
Probably.
Anyways. Back to Cloud City.
More pinballing, folks.
We're back to Cloud City. Lando's showing them a good time. 3PO ends up getting caught in the Ugnaught repair center or metal melting area, and then ends up getting shot by a stormtrooper. In which then apparently Chewie is the best mechanic ever, because then he just rebuilds 3PO later pretty quickly. But yeah, and then did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Again, we apologize. The
Sorry.
connection is a little bit spotty today. We cannot wait for Starlink, I guess.
Like most of the world.
Like most of the
Yeah.
world. Anyways, just like this movie that we're reviewing, they just keep on charging forward where Han
Exactly.
and Leia are getting a little bit, or at least Leia is definitely sensing something's wrong. I guess it's that force sensing that she has, or force sensitivity that we end up finding out that she has. And then they're greeted to dinner after 3PO gets found by Chewbacca. What do you know?
Which also, why was Chewbacca in the trash area looking at the parts the little Ugnaughts or whatever those things were sorting through? Like, seriously, why was Chewie down in the trash bin? I don't understand.
He was looking for 3PO.
Like, no. I'm saying we need to have an entire backstory, like an entire feature-length 2-hour Disney movie about why Chewie decided to depart the rest of the party, the Han and Leia party, and go look for C-3PO in this trash heap. Like, that can be an entire story. We got stories, much bigger stories made out of much more throwaway lines. So I think we're good.
One
Disney,
throwaway
call me.
line versus one missing droid.
Exactly. Much less.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love 3PO. He's like, you put my head on backwards! And he's just sitting there like, what have you done, you nincompoop?
And then gets switched
His
off.
vocabulary is on point. Just switch off. Yeah. So the Empire tortures Han and Leia for really no reason. Han kind of says it in one of the scenes where he's like, they didn't even ask me anything. And from our perspective, because we saw that Luke was very sensitive to the Empire doing something with his friends, that they were just being used as a trap. And so
a trap.
it's I know! Leia said it to Luke as they were running down the hallway. Leia's like, Luke, it's a trap! And I'm just like,
I'm like, no.
Admiral Akbar's just like off screen just a little bit, and he's just like, what the heck? Come on!
I
That's my
immediately
line.
said to myself, no, that's the next movie. Why are you
Yeah,
saying
exactly.
that line now?
Wrong line, folks. Wrong line. It's a
Wrong one.
trap. Oh, well, it's such a good line. We can use it other places too.
But yeah, I guess you skipped over the fact that Darth Vader greeted them at the dinner table, and then did they have dinner? I don't know if they had dinner with Boba Fett, or sorry, not Boba Fett.
If they did have dinner, it would be more awkward than Thanksgiving dinner at my house. That's for sure. Which is saying a lot.
I'm sorry that you have such awkward Thanksgiving dinners, Nick. I hope the turkey was not undercooked, at least.
No, the turkey wasn't undercooked. It's just the guy standing at the other end of the table stopping laser blasts with his hand.
I mean, that could get pretty
I think
awkward.
that would. And also daddy-daughter drama. That would be pretty awkward.
Which like we don't really like resolve or like understand until like episode 6, and it's like, hold on, there's so many times that Darth Vader and Leia meet.
Wait a minute,
and-
incest? What's going on?
Oh, we totally missed that as well. With Leia kissing Luke on Hoth. When,
I mean, we are on YouTube. We don't want to get demonetized, Mike, so we better not use the I word one too many times here.
Well, like you said, like there's so many movies that could be made.
Oh no, we do not need a move. Oh no, Mike, no.
I wasn't
We do
going that
not
route,
need-
but you went that route.
No, Mike, oh man. Ah,
I was going
you
a
need to
different route.
scrub my
with
brain.
the
What have you done to me? Jeez.
Anyways,
Okay,
Han gets tortured.
so Darth Vader alters the deal, and everyone prays he doesn't alter it any further.
Yep, and Han gets frozen in carbonite, which I know it. I guess metal's colder than the human body, but I'd say it's more of like he became a statue. So is it really freezing? I don't know.
Yeah, you know, whatever.
Anyways,
It's magic.
it's also
Star
like
Wars.
this big entire process of like, oh, he might not survive. We don't know. And then he gets put into it, and it's like, oh, he survived. He's good. And it's like, haven't you guys been doing this for a while now? Like, or at least isn't?
Yeah, so carbon freezing is pretty standard of life forms in the Star Wars universe. Bounty Hunter, I mean, the Mandalorian had a carbon freezer on his on the what was that the Revengeance, whatever it was called, his ship.
Mhm.
Mando had a carbon freezer, but the line that Lando says is that they use it for some kind of commodity or something, so that it's not a life form compatible carbon freezer. So they weren't 100% sure if that carbon freezer would work on a life form. Which I wonder why they didn't just chuck a stormtrooper down there and test it, because obviously the bounty on Han's head is so big that it would make Boba and Jabba like interested. Jabba's like a big time crime player, right? Like, so the bounty on his head must be very significant. Like, we're talking a lot of money, right? Like,
Some
and
amount.
so
I forget how much is on his head.
Vader just being the Empire will compensate you if Ho Solo is damaged is just kind of like, really? I mean, I feel like you could find a little Ugnaught and just toss him in there, or I don't know, a guinea pig, or like literally anything else. Why does it have to be Han? But okay, I get it for episode 6. And
I mean,
you know,
he could
the
have
famous
thrown
scene,
in
I
an
love
officer
you.
as well. Like, with the amount of officers there.
Killing
just-
two birds with one stone. Go
Yeah.
find Admiral Veers and toss him in the carbon freezer.
There we go.
Oh well.
Two problems
holes
solved
galore.
right there. But whatever. Anyways,
Yeah.
Han gets frozen, and then they're taking Leia and Chewbacca and 3PO in the weird backpack net bag that he's in on Chewie's back. I can't see anything. Turn around, you oaf.
Turn around, you Wookiee. Turn around, you walking carpet. Oh my gosh.
And then
So
Luke
yeah.
gets there.
Then Luke gets there. I kind of wonder why he wasn't a little bit more on edge. I mean, obviously he kind of was. He wasn't just walking around like normal, but like they let him land, right? And I think Obi-Wan even said it's a trap, and they want, they don't go there because it's a trap. But
Don't go.
I guess the only way to know for sure, yeah, don't go, Luke, don't go, but totally go.
Go.
Um,
I'm out of here.
yeah. So, yeah, I guess we skip to Leia saying it's a trap. We already covered that. What's after that? I guess we get to
R2
see
gets
Slave
left
1
behind.
like really briefly.
R2 totally
Oh,
gets
yeah.
ditched by Luke. Luke's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, all right, see you later. I'm going to go face off against this dude. And you
Yeah.
can figure things out, I guess. And R2, of course, being R2, finds the rest of the group, and they eventually get to the Falcon and then leave Luke
Honestly,
to-
R2 is
Hmm?
R2 is so much more of a prevalent character than anyone realizes in Star Wars. He's the reason why Amidala lives. He's the reason why Qui-Gon, why Anakin live. He's the reason why Anakin and Padme can get married. He's the reason why like Luke and Leia are able to be born. He's the it all goes back to C-3PO and R2-D2. Maybe this entire franchise is really just about 3PO and R2-D2.
No, it's about the Fez dude, I think. That only gets about 5 minutes.
Oh,
of
is it
screen
that
time.
Fez dude? He
Could be
keeps
the Fez
popping
dude.
up, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Fez dude's ship was called Slave One, which you gotta wonder if that was legal there in the Cloud City, but I guess maybe the ship had free choice. I don't know.
Maybe. Anyways, Boba escapes, or Baba, whatever his name is that we're calling him. Fez Dude escapes with Han. And Darth Vader goes toes to toe, because Luke only has one toe.
Toes to toe? That's about right.
Toe to toe.
Vader doesn't have any toes.
He doesn't really. I guess they're both robotic legs. He fights off his son, tries freezing him. Freezing fails somehow because, of course, Luke can apparently jump not hundreds of feet, but at least tens of feet without much effort. And Darth Vader just can't see
all
anything.
that training with Yoda on Dagobah.
Yeah, doing all the front flips. And
then
then
front
we get
flips
the
equal to jumping high.
wonderful scene of they're in this corridor and Darth Vader just starts throwing things at Luke, like, take this, and this, and this, and this.
And Luke's just like, I
can't. I can't see. I'm not wearing a helmet where I can't see, and I can anticipate it.
Exactly. Then Luke gets sucked out the window, which, by the way, if you are going to build floating cities, might I recommend some banisters? Because what the heck, guys? Handrails are a good thing. Let's make our windows out of things that don't bust and suck people out. That would be a good idea. Whoever designed that is fully to blame here for all of the issues we have.
Yeah. Yeah, that engineer needs to get fired. Maybe just put into the cryo tube, or not cryo tube, the... Oh, I forgot the name of it. Is it... No. The thing that Han's in.
Carbon freezing?
Carbon freezing. I somehow forgot what he's in. Anyways, there are handrails, thankfully, on the walkway that Darth Vader and Luke are fighting on, and then Luke gets his hand cut off like a silly little boy he is.
Well, you're skipping back to that part. Oh, okay, fine. I was going to rag on the engineer who decided to stick a perfectly placed slide right inside of the chasm of death, but I guess we'll go back to the hand thing. So,
what were you talking about? That's like shortly after, right? Luke gets his hand cut off, and then Darth Vader says,
"Oh yeah,
I'm your father."
You're right.
And
oh
then
yeah,
Luke's
the most
like,
important,
nah.
the most important scene of the movie. I'm sorry. Proceed.
And it's not Luke, I'm your father. It's no, I am your father. No.
So to all those people who are watching this show, you are now on the hook and responsible for knowing that Darth Vader does not say, "Luke, I am your father." No, he says, "No, I am your father."
Exactly like
so
that.
There's
in
no
the
Luke there,
same
guys.
Voice that Nick did right there.
Oh yeah, I can do a what's the guy's name? Who does the voice acting? Man, come on.
I know Wilhelm, because there's the Wilhelm screen.
Vader, come on. Darth Vader is
Oh, James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones, thank you. I'm like David Prowse, but that's not the voice. That guy had a southern accent.
Yeah. But yeah, and then he falls down the giant chute because apparently everywhere in Star Wars there's a very long chasm of death. But then he just gets sucked into some air hole, I guess, or some weird thing. And then everything looks fine. And then what happens, Nick?
It's just a slide. Just a big slide.
Just some big slide. Everything looks fine. Luke's just hanging out on the slide. Nothing wrong here, right?
Trapdoor!
It's a trap again.
It's a trap.
Door.
Yeah, you gotta look out there. They're out to get you. Yeah, so he had it's a trap, and now he's hanging on the sprinkler system underneath the cloud city at the very bottom. Some sprinklers down there, maybe antenna, I don't know. But he's down there, and he's like, okay, let me count my options here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have another hand, so he's like, what can I do? I don't have my lightsaber. I don't have my hand. I need help. What does he do? He walkie-talkies his sister telepathically, obviously. I mean, what would you do in that situation, Mike?
I would use the sprinkler system to call up my buddy Lando and say, get me off of your silly city in the clouds and get me a blanket because apparently it's really cold out here.
And that's exactly what happens. So good job for using some brain power of yours to figure that out before it happens, Mike. Good job.
And we also get some really cool shots of the Falcon approaching Luke, and it's flying through the clouds and everything. But sadly, fluid physics were not a thing back then, so when the Falcon is flying around these clouds, the clouds are very still. They're very solid.
As clouds are on Bespin. They're just solid.
They're just ice. That's all they are. They're not even like moisture that is in.
I wonder if we
form.
see any ships fly through them.
I don't know. I mean, I know that there's the shot that Falcon does. It does like a cool like roller coaster move where it goes under one archway and comes up on the other side. But yeah, and then apparently they fixed the hyperdrive because they've got R2 on there.
Yeah, R2's just like, well, they just turned it off. Have you tried turning it on again? And 3PO's like, I'm sure they've done that.
That's
and
right.
then it just works.
Because the engineers.
Yeah, so
Cloud
another
City were
reason
supposed to
why
fix it.
R2. Another reason why R2 is the center of the entire Star Wars universe. He fixes the hyperdrive.
Again.
Like, R2 is the main character. I'm convinced. You cannot unconvince me anymore.
Okay, I'll try that in the next movie then, when we spend so much time on Endor, and the Ewok is definitely the main character of Star Wars. But
I will take Warwick Davis any day of the week. I love you, Warwick. All right, so we need to finish off this episode here because we are pushing almost the same runtime as the movie yet again.
That's amazing.
Not quite that bad, but
that's like
will
2
get there
hours,
if
right?
we
I
don't-
mean,
if we
this
don't-
would be pushing it for Toy Story.
It would be. Yeah. So, very ending. I really loved the final scene here. As a kid, I was always like, oh, that's so cool. They just replaced his hand, and you get to see, like, all the little metal, like, so cool. I love that. And then it's not the Galactic Core. It used to be the Galactic Core, but as they've expanded the universe, that's no longer official definition. That's just a nebula that they're staring out at the window of a nebula. And so it's a very, very nice music, and it flows perfectly into the end credits song. And it's just, I don't know, I get very emotional. Dun 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 dun.
Oh, that one, yeah.
I'm
I
a
think
beautiful
that's
singer,
Leia's
guys.
theme.
And it's kind of a mix of the two, but either way, it's the end right before the credits roll, and it's just very cinematic. And actually, this is a little behind the scenes stuff. They hadn't made detailed models of the Falcon at that scale yet, of whatever scale they made that medical frigate thingy, and so they had to remake that. And that was actually one of the last shots that they filmed for the whole movie. Was they kind of redid that whole end scene, and I really appreciate the time that they put into that, because that end scene. It's just like 3 minutes at the very end. It kind of leaves on a little bit of a cliffhanger because we don't get resolution with Vader or Luke, and they just kind of barely make it out there with their lives, and the Empire's still after them. But it kind of adds like just a few minutes for the movie to breathe right before it's over, to establish the characters we actually care about are all okay, except for Han. Who knows where he is? But Lando and Chewie are about to go looking for him. So it's like, okay, this is a nice way to end a movie that's still ending on a cliffhanger. Like, it just doesn't get just cut. Like, could you imagine if it was, no, I am your father. No, that's not true. That's impossible. Dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun.
I would have liked it to cut right as he's falling. Like, oh, that's the end. Luke is dead.
Yeah.
You're like, what happened? And of course, like, you see the trailer for maybe Return of the Jedi. You're like, oh yeah, of course he's alive.
Yeah.
It's
like a post-credit scene, and it's just like Luke. There you go. So if we cut the movie right there, like as he was starting to fall,
a
and it's like
2021 cut of Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Oh, I want to do this. Maybe we should do this one of these days. Just add like some, more CG slugs in front of the shot is what we need to do. But the end credit scene of the 2021 cut of Episode 5, it would be him sliding down the slides, and it looked like he's all right, and we're like, oh, okay, great, he survived. And then the end credit scene will end right as the trap door opens and he falls, but before it cuts to him catching the rail.
We need to add one of those typical early 90s da-da-da-da-da-da or whatever. I forget where those actually came from, but at least that's where I remember them from, with some of the slapstick comedy.
Or just the what was it, don't Curb Your Enthusiasm, dun 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 da 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 da.
Or the more modern, I think from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the To Be Continued, and then it's like a banjo. That would have been pretty funny too. Vader seemed
man,
really...
I actually want this to happen.
That'd be pretty. Yeah, we should definitely do it at some point.
Let's just pause on this topic for a minute. Like,
okay.
I would love to see if they just took maybe all three of them, because there might not be enough footage to do a true 2021 cut, because right now we're pretty used to action-packed movies. And these are all fairly slow movies in comparison. So I wouldn't mind if some fan of Star Wars, maybe I should do this, is just got all three of the movies and just cut them down and maybe change some of the color grading and maybe even like, I don't know, did some like zoom things and messed up the transitions and added some more CG characters and I don't know, just 2021'd it out and yeah, they could really do that and then just have like an end credit scene of. Yeah, I would love this. I honestly would love, like, obviously it wouldn't be canon, but it would be like just fan service, and I would pay Disney for this. So Disney, if you want more of my money, which you always do for some reason, make this happen.
Or the opposite, maybe they could pay you. Please give me money to make this.
Disney, even better idea. I will work for you for free.
Oh goodness.
Maybe.
I would rather pay.
Maybe.
I did want to touch on right before they get to the medical frigate. Vader seems pretty chill with the Falcon just escaping. He's like, "Oh, there they go. See ya."
Yeah.
Doesn't try chasing him like he has been the whole entire movie. He's like, I cut off my son's hand. I think he needs a little bit."
Didn't he say that? Doesn't he turn to an officer and say, "Did you install a homing beacon or something like that?"
Oh yeah, he probably did. Maybe.
I can't remember. I remember he told his officer something, and the officer was like, "Yes." So I don't maybe it wasn't a homing beacon, but
yeah.
Anyway.
And then we're greeted with a very funny Easter egg. At the end of the credits, if you stay long enough, I noticed this. I don't know if you noticed this, Nick.
No.
There's a phone number
I didn't stay at all.
that pops up at the end of the credits or near the end of the credits. That is 1-800-PHONE-THX. I don't know the digits for that, but if you call, I don't know if you want to call it.
Okay, wait, we're calling this 1-800.
Okay, well, I know what happens when you call
phone.
it, so have fun. Make sure to put up next to the mic if you really want to add some edits to this episode, especially some censoring.
Phone THX?
Yeah, PHONETHX. I'll say, at least for some of the listeners out there, it's not a kid-friendly number. It definitely isn't owned by THX anymore, who did a lot of the sound design, or a lot of help with this movie. But it looks like Nick is calling them right now. Is it still ringing? Oh, he's listening to it. Yeah. It is no longer in service with THX. It is with a very lonely person who just needs someone to talk to service. We'll keep it at that. But I thought that was pretty funny that that's still in the movie. I guess it's credit to the company. But they could have taken it out because now it's just... That was just hilarious because I called it and my wife started busting up laughing because she was watching the movie with me. She's like, "What am I listening to?" And I'm like, "I don't know. What is this? Why?"
Whoa. Oh my gosh.
So we have a little bit of a fun Easter egg, at least.
There is. It doesn't need to be a whole end credit scene, just a random phone number. Honestly, that would be cool too. Could you imagine if there's just a phone number at the end of like a Marvel movie, and if you called it, the message was like some secret message? That'd be kind of cool. I want more Easter eggs, folks. Like, Anyway.
Well, that was episode 5. That was a pretty fun movie
Yeah.
to kind of walk through. We kind of went on a lot of tangential paths, but we eventually got to the end.
That's my life, man. You think I ever focus on one topic? No way.
No, I mean, how would
pinball
you get
machine over here.
multiple things done? I mean, it doesn't make sense to
Right?
try to get one project done when you could get 2 done in the same time if you budget your time. But
Oh my gosh.
are you gonna call it?
I thought they were calling me back. It's just another scam call. I was like, wait a minute, what? They're calling me back? I get way too many scam calls.
Hello, we heard that
To
you are
change my number.
lonely and really want to listen to our THX service. That is.
Gosh.
Oh goodness, I
man.
can't.
We need to end this.
I was trying to come up with an acronym, but I couldn't come up with a clever one that has an X in it, like xylophone or something like that. The Hungry Xylophone Corporation is calling you, I guess.
Oh my
But you
goodness.
could replace xylophone with something else. But yeah, no, I thought this was a good movie. I mean, it's still 5 out of 8 on my scale of whatever our Talos of Movie Review podcast scale is.
The official scale of the Talos of Movie Reviews.
1 to 8. Yes. Not 1 to 9.
1 to 8.
Not 1 to 10. Not 1 to 5.
Nope.
1 to 8.
1 to 8.
I feel like
because
1
you're
to
more
7
accurate.
would be even hilarious. But I think 8's a good number. It's divisible by 4.
I think 8 is an
and 2,
even better number.
and 8, and 1.
And 1. I was going to say, you almost missed 1 there, buddy.
No.
You could also divide it by 0.
1 is also the loneliest number. That's why there's 2 of us.
I would know that because Valentine's Day is about to come up.
Oof.
You're going to be over there and have your wife.
Yeah. I'll
Oh, we should end it before this gets any worse. I think I need to call that 1-800 phone THX.
Well, Nick calls the 1-800 phone THX number. I'd like to thank everyone for listening to us. Thanks for joining us on this wonderful morning, evening, or afternoon, or whenever you're listening to us. And we appreciate going through this movie, and we appreciate you guys listening. And we'd love some comments on maybe some movies that you'd like us to review as well. Please also watch the new Talos of Movie trailer that is on our YouTube channel, produced by the 4 of us. That I guess we haven't really talked about the 4 of us on the podcast. There's you and me, Nick. That
No,
are
there are
usually
2
heading
other
the
people on
podcast.
this channel.
Yeah, I think was it Fez is one of them, right?
Fez? I thought his name was Rue?
Bada Fez.
Rue?
Bada Fez.
Bada-
And
Bada Fez and
they reviewed Bada Fez.
Nand?
Man.
Oh, yeah. Mand and Rue, I think, are the
Mandrew.
other 2 people who... Mandrew.
Mandrew. Anyways,
Dandrew.
go
The
check
Dandrew
out
show.
that
I
channel
missed that
trailer.
show.
It's a pretty funny one, and we hope to. I guess we're gonna be reviewing another movie, which if you're following the path or at least the trend, you'll know what we're reviewing next. Or we might throw a curveball. Let us know in the comments what you want to listen to, and thank you very much for joining us. Have a good night, everyone.
Goodbye. God bless.